Hello everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the FurtAudio Experience, the podcast that leaves you feeling more conscious, engaged, and fulfilled in your life to magnify your impact on humanity as a leader. So, with that being said, today's topic is consistency, and it is inspired by, I hit 6 months in a row of going to the gym 3 times a week, and I honestly am... Well, I don't really know if I'll ever be quite in the same shape as I was when I was a high school athlete because I spent 4 hours a day working out. I feel like I'm in really great shape and I'm really feeling good, and I'm proud about where I am at. And this podcast isn't about, oh yeah, Justin's in great shape. No, it's about consistency. And this also, I want to use an example from a podcast conversation that I had yesterday. Also, stay tuned. That's going to be coming out in a few months. Yeah, mark it down. So, with that being said, her name is Evan Unrau, and she is a director of Peace Players Los Angeles. But before she was the director of Peace Players Los Angeles, she was coaching college basketball for about 10 years. And, with that comes 5:30 a.m. buses and days where you don't want to show up to practice and you don't want to put in the work. But when you are a leader, you have to show up and you have to bring that energy because the people will follow you. And you don't have to necessarily be in a leadership role, right? Like if you want to be a leader and you talk about it, like it's how you show up every day as an employee, as a team member, as a student, whoever you are, right? So let's go back to it. 5:30 a.m., right? 5:30 a.m. Ain't no one really want to wake up at 5:30 a.m. Not even me. I love the morning. 5:30 a.m. It's pretty early. Go on the bus after a long practice, after a loss. And she's up there, and she even tells me, she's like, I'm not the most, verbose, outspoken person, but she's greeting people. Good morning, good morning, good morning, right? Ready to go. Let's get ready to go, right? She brought the energy, even though inside of her, she wants to go to sleep just like all of us, right? But she has that responsibility to, be that energy source. And then her team players are like, Coach, how you got so much energy? I'm so tired, right? But if she showed up with that tired energy, they'd be like, all right, let's check out. But because she's bringing the energy, she's setting the table, right? That is an opportunity for her and the team to be like, all right, well, maybe we're tired, all right, maybe we'll get a little power nap, we'll get a little sleep, but put our headphones on, bounce back from the loss, whatever it is, right? That's a leader's job, is to set the table and set the tone. But let's pull it back a little bit because I want to talk about consistency and showing up. So then James Clear of Atomic Habits also talks a lot about, obviously consistency and habits kind of go hand in hand. So with that being said, the workouts that you really don't feel like, it's actually more important to show up on those days where you don't feel like it than to go to the gym on the days where you're feeling amped and crush it, because that consistency matters over time. I write all the time. I write every day, and a lot of, honestly, I don't want to say a lot of them, but definitely some of my essays and my work and some of even these videos, they're bad. They're not good. I'm putting it out there though. Okay, and it's just like, it's about being consistent, and it's finding the things that you want to be consistent at, right? Like, a lot of people don't like lifting weights, and that's fine, right? Like just finding some sort of physical activity. When you're at work, how are you, interacting with your other employees? Are you bringing the group down, or are you lifting the group up? And are you lifting the group up consistently? Obviously, you don't have to have the same positive energy every day, right? But still interacting, still being positive in terms of like, hey, checking in with people, right? And honestly, on those like tough days, just like showing up and doing your best, right? Our best is going to look different on every single day, and I think that's one of the things that I'm learning like a lot, is my best on a day after vacation where I feel super rested is gonna look a lot different than the day where it's like we're like 3 weeks in and like had a tough day with some kids and podcast is frustrating me, LA traffic, right? I'm like want to hit my head against the wall, so I guess got to do my best on that day, right? It's just about doing your best and being consistent doing your best, right? We're human. We're going to mess up. And honestly, as I heard her talking about that, like I went back and looked back to the Boys and Girls Club, and I was not always consistent. No. Like with the first and second graders, like there's some days I would just be like in a bad mood, and I probably took it out on them. And that's, as me as a young leader, I got to correct that. But I would try and be like, hey y'all, I'm sorry, right? Like that's okay too. Like when you're a leader, you gotta apologize for not showing up consistent, right? But you can't apologize over and over again. You kind of have to show it. So that actions speak louder than words. But also being okay and being vulnerable with, you know what, today is just not my day. So those are some of my thoughts on consistency. I'm curious what, some of this sparks for you, right? Like, I think consistency will beat talent time and time again. And I've never been the most talented person. I'm definitely not the most intelligent. I'm definitely not the most athletic, but I'm consistent. That's like really the thing that I think sets me apart from a lot of other people. And I'm still making content here 3 years later, even though I have 1, 2, 3 followers or 3 people listening to this right now, and probably one's my dad, one's my mom, and one's my girlfriend or whoever it is, right? But I'm going to keep putting it out there because I really do believe, and that I don't have this is something that I feel called to, right? Like, it's about being consistent for something that you feel called to. So with that being said, that's what I want to leave with you with. I hope you have a wonderful day whenever you're listening to this podcast, and send me some thoughts, right? Like, I had someone reply to an email last week, and it made my day, right? Like, the fact that you listened to the podcast and you responded to me and told me how it is, like that makes my day. It's amazing. So I appreciate you for listening to this if you got to this far, and I look forward to hearing and starting a dialogue and conversation. So without being further ado, have a wonderful day. Much love, y'all.